Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're diving into something that I think we all struggle with sometimes, energy.
Yeah. You know how it feels like no matter how much sleep you get, it's never really enough.
Totally. So today we're going deep into a conversation between a couple of experts on, well, energy, like how we use it, how we lose it, uh, why it feels so hard to get enough sometimes.
Yeah, what's so fascinating is that this feeling like we're constantly running on fumes, it actually might be a sign our bodies are kind of like stuck in the Stone Age.
What? Okay, now you have to explain that.
Well, think about it. Our brains are getting bombarded with way more information and stimulation now than they ever were designed to handle, you know?
Yeah, that's true.
And that's where this idea of evolutionary mismatch comes in. Basically, we're wired for the energy demands of, like, our hunter-gatherer ancestors, people who probably made a handful of big decisions each day.
Right, like where's the best place to hunt?
Yeah.
Or how do I not get eaten by a saber-toothed tiger?
Exactly. But now,
Oh, now it's like 30,000 decisions before we've even finished our first cup of coffee.
totally. And even those little choices we make all day long, like what to click on or what to wear,
Yeah.
those use up this neurotransmitter called glutamate.
Glutamate, okay.
It's basically the fuel that our brain runs on to process stuff and make decisions.
Okay.
But the thing is, when glutamate builds up, it's kind of like clogging the gears. You know what I mean? It messes with our willpower, and we end up making worse choices too.
Oh, wow. So it's not just in our heads. Modern life is literally making our brains work harder.
Yeah, it's like we're running the latest software on like a super old computer.
Yeah, it makes sense why we feel so drained all the time.
Yeah.
So this burnout feeling is real then. Like it's actually happening in our brains.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
There's actually research with fMRI scans that shows what decision fatigue looks like in the brain.
No way.
Yeah. After making a bunch of choices, the parts of your brain that make decisions, they just don't light up as much on the span. It's wild.
Like they're running out of juice.
Literally.
So, okay, we've figured out our modern lives are an energy suck. But what about like our emotions? Does getting worked up, whether it's good or bad, does that drain us too?
Oh, definitely. Strong emotions, even if they're positive ones, they release these hormones, adrenaline and noradrenaline.
Okay.
That whole fight or flight response. Those give us a temporary boost, but
They leave us feeling wiped out after.
exactly. It's
Yeah.
like borrowing energy from your future self.
Oh, I like that. So that burst of energy you get when something exciting happens, you're going to pay for it later.
Pretty much, yeah. Like when you're totally exhausted, but then your favorite band announces a surprise concert,
Oh, yeah, totally.
and you're suddenly like, I have to be there. That's adrenaline kicking in. But after, you're going to crash hard.
That makes sense. It's like our bodies don't know the difference between good stress and bad stress, huh?
Right. It all uses up the same energy reserve.
So we need time to recover, even from the fun stuff.
Absolutely. We wouldn't run a marathon every single day, right?
Definitely not.
So we shouldn't expect our minds and emotions to be on all the time either.
Okay, that's good advice. And I guess speaking of things that brain us, our surroundings probably play a part too, right?
Big time. Our brains are always processing information from our senses, the more stimulation there is.
The more work our brains have to do.
Exactly. And that burns a ton of energy.
It explains why I'm way more tired after a day of, like, running errands in the city than I am after, say, a day out in nature.
Yeah, that's a great example. Imagine your computer trying to run like a simple program
Okay, yeah.
versus something crazy complicated like a 3D animation.
Oh, right. So even though I'm not physically doing that much, my brain's still working overtime just to deal with all the input.
Exactly. So creating calming environments is key, like at home or even at work. Less noise, less clutter, less visual stuff.
Makes sense. And more nature, I bet.
Oh, for sure. Studies show spending time in nature can be huge for our energy levels. Less stress hormones, too. It's like hitting the reset button.
I like that. Okay, so we've covered decision fatigue, how our emotions affect our energy, and now the impact of our surroundings. Now on to another big one. Sleep. Or, well, lack of it.
Ah, yes. Sleep. It's like the ultimate energy recharge, right?
Yeah, but how does it actually work?
So as we go about our day, our bodies build up this byproduct called adenosine.
Adenosine.
It's basically the thing that makes us feel sleepy. Like the more we use energy, the more adenosine we get.
So it's like a sleep pressure valve.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. And sleep is what clears it out. It's like a brainwash cycle. It resets our energy for the next day.
Okay.
But the thing is, it's not just how much you sleep, It's the quality of that sleep, you know?
Oh, right. I've heard about those deep sleep stages.
Yeah, exactly. You need those deep stages to really clear out the adenosine and recharge.
So it's not enough to just be in bed for 8 hours. You have to actually be getting quality sleep.
Precisely. Otherwise, you can still wake up feeling exhausted.
That explains why I was so tired when I was, like, obsessed with sleep tracking.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was so focused on getting the perfect amount of sleep that I started stressing about it, which definitely didn't help me fall asleep.
Yeah, I can see how that would happen. It's like technology can be great, but we have to use it in the right way. We can't let it add to our stress, especially when it comes to something as important as sleep.
Totally.
Mhm.
So how do we improve our sleep quality without, going crazy with tracking apps and stuff? Like, are there any actual biohacking tricks that work?
Oh, there are some really cool strategies that can make a big difference, and we'll dive into all of that right after this.
Okay, so before the break, we were talking sleep biohacking.
Right. Some serious sleep optimization.
I'm do it. So what are some things we can do to get that, like, deeper, more restful sleep?
Well, one thing you can try is actually making your bedroom cooler.
Really?
Yeah.
I always thought, like, being warm and cozy was better for sleep.
I know, right? It seems kind of counterintuitive. But when you sleep in a cooler room, your body does this thing called vasoconstriction. Basically, your blood vessels narrow, and that can help reduce inflammation and actually get better blood flow to your brain.
So it's like
Right.
we're literally cleaning out more of that adenosine, that sleepiness stuff with better blood flow.
Exactly. And there's another cool thing.
Oh,
Yeah, when your body cools down before sleep, it helps release melatonin too. You know, that natural sleep hormone.
right, right. That makes sense. I definitely fall asleep faster when I'm, like, comfortably cool.
Yeah.
Are there any other sleep hacks we should know about?
Oh, for sure. Another big one is making sure your bedroom is like totally dark.
Okay, yeah.
Even a little bit of light can mess with your melatonin production and mess up your sleep.
So blackout curtains are a must then.
Pretty much. And even those sleep masks,
They actually help. I
Yeah.
thought they were just like a fashion statement.
well, they can definitely help, especially if you can't completely block out all the light in your room.
Yeah.
And they help cut down on distractions too, you know? Signal to your brain it's time to chill out.
Gotcha. It's cool how these little changes can make a big difference in our energy levels. What about, like, biohacking tools or supplements? Anything that can help boost our energy?
Oh, yeah, there are a few.
Hmm.
One that comes to mind is red light therapy.
Okay, I've heard of that, but remind me what it does again.
Sure. So red light therapy basically uses specific wavelength of red and near infrared light,
Okay.
and it's been shown to help your cells produce more energy.
I remember we talked about mitochondria earlier. What are those again?
Oh, right. Well, think of mitochondria like tiny little power plants inside your cells,
Okay.
and they take the food you eat and turn it into energy, like usable energy called ATP.
Gotcha. So ATP is like the energy currency our bodies run on.
Exactly. And what's crazy is mitochondria have their own DNA.
What?
Yeah, separate from the DNA in the cell's nucleus. So scientists think they used to be independent organisms like millions of years ago and then got absorbed into our cells.
Whoa. That is mind-blowing. So we have these ancient bacteria, like, living inside us, powering everything we do.
I know, right? It's amazing.
Mm.
And red light therapy, what it does is it basically gives those little power plants a boost, helps them work better.
Interesting.
Yeah, studies show it can increase ATP, that energy currency. Plus, it can help reduce fatigue and even make you better at sports.
So it's like a shot of espresso for ourselves.
Yeah.
I like it. I've also heard about grounding, where you walk barefoot on the earth.
Ah, yes.
Grounding.
Does that actually do anything?
Well, the idea is that connecting to the Earth's surface can help balance out free radicals in your body and reduce inflammation. And some people say they feel more energized after grounding, but the research on it is still kind of mixed.
Okay, so maybe not as scientifically sound as the red light therapy.
Yeah.
What about supplements? Anything good for boosting energy there?
Oh, yeah, totally. There's NAD plus OR, creatine, CoQ10, omega-3 fatty acids.
Whoa, okay, let's break those down one by one. Some of those I've heard of, but I don't really know what they do.
Sure. So NAD plus first.
Yeah.
It's this coenzyme found in, like, every single cell in your body.
Yeah, and it's super important for hundreds of metabolic processes, including energy production.
Yeah.
The problem is as we get older, our NAD plus levels drop, and that can make us feel more tired and, well, just older in general.
So if we take an NAD plus supplement, it's like we're replenishing that energy supply, turning back the clock a bit.
You got it.
Nice. What about creatine? I know a lot of athletes use that, but does it actually give you more energy?
Creatine is interesting because it's actually already in our muscles naturally, and it helps make more ATP, that energy currency we were talking about.
Right, right.
So when you take a creatine supplement, it can increase the amount of ATP in your muscles, and that gives you more energy for like short bursts of activity, things like weightlifting or
So
sprinting.
it's more for like workout energy, not all day energy.
Yeah, exactly. It's really good for those activities where you need like a quick burst of power.
Got it. Okay, what about CoQ10? I honestly have no idea what that is.
CoQ10 is another important one for energy production, specifically within the mitochondria, those little power plants.
Okay.
It basically acts as an antioxidant, so it protects those mitochondria from damage.
So it's like a bodyguard for our cells, keeping them running smoothly.
Yeah, that's a good way to think about it. And like NAD plus Arrow, our CoQ10 levels go down as we age, so a supplement can definitely be helpful, especially for keeping up our energy levels.
Interesting. Okay, last one on the list. Omega-3s. I know those are supposed to be good for our brains, but what do they have to do with energy?
Well, omega-3s, specifically the DHA and EPA types, they're actually really important parts of our cell membranes, including the membranes of our mitochondria,
Okay.
and they help make those membranes more fluid, which means energy can be transferred more efficiently.
So they're like keeping the cellular machinery well-oiled and running smoothly.
Exactly. Omega-3s are crucial for our cells to function at their best, and that includes how well they produce energy.
This is all great information, but before we get too excited about biohacking and supplements, we should probably talk about, how everyone's different.
Oh, you're totally right. There's no, magic bullet when it comes to energy. We all have different genes, different body types, different lifestyles, even our gut microbiomes are different, and all of that affects our energy levels.
So what works for one person might not work for someone else.
Exactly. So it's about figuring out what works for you specifically.
That makes sense. I know for years I tried so hard to gain muscle, but I just couldn't no matter what I did. I was like, what's wrong with me? Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of people feel that way, especially with, social media and all these images of people with like perfect bodies and tons of energy.
It's easy to compare yourself and feel like you're doing something wrong. But I finally realized my body type is just naturally on the leaner side.
Right.
So building muscle is going to take more work for me than it might for other people.
And that's a really important thing to realize. We need to understand our own strengths and weaknesses and work with our bodies, not against them.
I agree. So how do we do that? Like, how do we even start to understand these individual differences?
Well, one really simple but powerful thing you can try is energy tracking. Just pay attention to your energy levels throughout the day.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, notice what kinds of activities drain you and which ones give you a boost. Are there certain times of day when you feel more focused or more sluggish?
So it's all about becoming more aware of how our choices affect our energy, right?
Yes, it's about getting out of that reactive mode, where we just reach for caffeine or sugar for a quick fix.
Yeah.
Instead, we want to be more proactive.
So we're talking about like making real lifestyle changes, not just quick hacks.
Exactly. It's about creating a lifestyle that actually supports your energy instead of draining it.
This is so helpful. Are there like specific tips for how to actually put all this into practice? I'm ready to start feeling more energized.
So we've covered so much in this deep dive, from why we're so tired all the time to how to hack our sleep and boost our energy.
Right.
Now I want to get to the good stuff. What can people actually do right now to start feeling more energized?
Well, we have all these fascinating insights, right? So
Yeah.
it's about taking those and actually using them in our everyday lives. And a good place to start is with your morning routine.
Okay, so set ourselves up for success from the get-go.
Yeah, exactly. And remember we were talking about caffeine?
Uh-huh.
Like how it's better to avoid it for the first couple of hours after you wake up.
Mm.
Let your natural cortisol, do its thing.
Right, resist the urge to immediately grab a coffee, even though it's so tempting.
Oh, I know it's hard. But trust me, it's worth it. Instead of coffee, what you want to do is hydrate. Big glass of water.
Okay.
And get some sunlight. Even just a few minutes of that morning sun can really help reset your body clock. So swap the coffee for some sunshine and water.
Exactly.
I can do that. Now, while we're talking mornings,
Mm.
what about breakfast?
Mm.
To eat or not to eat? That is the question.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it's a big debate, right?
And there's so much conflicting advice out there, it's confusing.
Well, honestly, it depends on you. What are your goals?
Okay.
If you want to burn fat, maybe improve your metabolism, then maybe try a fasted workout,
Okay, yeah.
and then eat breakfast later.
So you get the fat-burning benefits of the workout and set yourself up for better energy later.
Exactly. But if you're someone who, needs to eat breakfast, then make sure it's something that's actually going to give you lasting energy.
Right, not something that's going to, like, spike my blood sugar and then make me crash an hour later.
Totally. So think protein, healthy fats, complex carbs.
Okay, so protein smoothies, avocado toast, maybe some overnight oats with, like, nuts and seeds.
Yeah, perfect examples.
Okay, so we've got our morning sorted. What about, like, the rest of the day? Any tips for avoiding that afternoon slump?
Oh, yeah, for sure. One of the best things you can do is move around throughout the day.
Okay, yeah, stand up, stretch, take a walk.
Exactly. Even just a few minutes can make a difference. It gets your blood flowing, helps you focus better, just wakes you up a bit.
Yeah, try to be better about that. It's easy to get sucked into work and then realize you've been sitting for hours.
Oh, I know, me too. But setting a timer can help. Just remind yourself to get up every hour, even if it's just for a few minutes.
And if you can get outside for a walk, even better,
Yeah.
especially if it's sunny.
Oh, yeah. Sunshine and fresh air can do wonders for your energy levels. Remember, nature helps us reset.
Right, right. And I guess being mindful of all those decisions we make throughout the day, that can help too, right? To save energy.
Absolutely. Creating systems and routines can really help with that, like planning your meals ahead of time or picking out your clothes the night before.
Yeah. Or grouping similar tasks together.
Exactly. It's amazing how much mental energy those little decisions can take up.
I know, it's crazy. And sometimes the best thing you can do is just say no to things.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You don't have to say yes to everything. It's okay to protect your energy.
So boundaries are important.
Definitely. Okay, now what about evenings? How do we unwind in a way that sets us up for good sleep?
Yeah, what's a good bedtime routine?
Well, the key is to relax, right? So maybe take a warm bath, read a book, listen to some calming music.
Avoid screens, I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely. That blue light from your phone or computer, it messes with your melatonin production, which makes it harder to sleep.
Right. Yeah.
So try to disconnect from all that at least an hour before bed.
Okay, so screens off, warm bath, maybe a good book. Sounds perfect. But what if we do all this stuff and we're still tired?
Well, sometimes being tired all the time can actually be a sign of a bigger health problem.
Oh,
So if you're feeling exhausted all the time, even after trying to make these changes, it's always a good idea to talk to your doctor.
just to make sure there's nothing else going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Well, I think we've covered just about everything when it comes to energy. Any final words of wisdom you want to leave our listeners with?
I guess what I want to emphasize is, this whole energy thing. It's a journey.
Yeah, it's not like you just wake up one day and suddenly you have all the energy in the world.
Right. It's about figuring out what works for you and making those changes over time. Taking care of yourself.
So it's about becoming like the CEO of your own energy.
I love that. And remember, even small changes can have a big impact. So start small, experiment, and see what happens.
This has been so insightful. Thank you so much for joining us on this energy deep dive.
It's been my pleasure.
And to all our listeners, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep into the things that matter most to you. Until next time.